In order to feel in control and to better manage an emotion you're feeling at any given time, one of the most powerful tips I can offer you is you've got to name it to tame it. Now think about it for a moment. If I was to ask you right now in this exact moment how you're feeling, what's your exact emotional state? And I needed you to be descriptive. You need to give me details. How detailed could you be? How easy would the answer be? My guess is your answer to that question would be quite difficult. And that's the same for all of us. Many of us don't even know how to label our emotions. Now, here's why this is important. When you're going through an emotion, let's say, such as frustration. Right now, if I'm feeling frustrated and I'm kind of getting caught up in that emotion, what happens is, think about the part of the brain that you're triggering. You're triggering the limbic system. That's the primitive reactive type system where it's more like fight or flight, the secretion of cortisol, okay? When that happens and you go into that fight or flight type stress reaction based on an emotional state that you're in, what happens next? Well, your thinking sure as heck is not dialed in. You're not making the best decisions. You might be reacting instead of responding, but clearly your emotional state, which you may not have labeled at this point, is just taking control of you. It's taking over because that's what the fight or flight response is designed to do, is to just have you fight or run, right? Now, when we label an emotion, or if we name it to tame it, we go back to that concept. If we can sit here and just say for a moment, I seem like I feel frustrated, like I feel overwhelmed, okay? You've done one simple thing already just by having the awareness and the label placed, or even just the inquisitiveness to identify and label an emotion is a huge first step. Now, here's why. Your focus in your brain shifts from your limbic system and it moves over to your prefrontal cortex. Now, when it goes from the limbic system to the prefrontal cortex, what ends up happening is you break that chain, you break that cycle of being in that primitive, reactive, cortisol secreting type zone, which is the limbic zone or the limbic area of the brain, and then you shift it to the prefrontal cortex. Now all of a sudden you're into rational thought and you're into intellectualizing what may be going on. And that breaks that chain, that breaks that cycle in the limbic area. And so once you shift to the prefrontal cortex, now all of a sudden you can take a step back and say, okay, here's how I'm feeling. What thoughts might be triggering this feeling, and what actions might they be producing that I'm not completely fond of, or I'm not completely proud of, or I'm not completely wanting to happen right now. And now all of a sudden you've actually made a shift where now you're actually able to label that emotion, name it, come up with a plan and an action plan to shift from it, maybe elevate your emotion, raise your vibration, take a step back, take a breather, create some space. There's so many options that start to fall into favor that just simply naming an emotion enables the cascade of events of you being able to tame that emotion and to shift to a different emotional state. So if you want to name it, you can tame it. In order to do this, I highly recommend you become very familiar with how you feel at any given point. Challenge yourself to feel like, how do I feel right now? Where do I want to go with my feelings? What things can I think of or do to shift the way I feel currently? And once you kind of start to gain that emotional mastery and gain that emotional intelligence, not just for yourself, but also for others, it starts to really help you live a better life. So my name is Dr. Jay Kavanaugh of The Vibe Mindset. I want to thank you for your time. Share your thoughts below. I want to get a conversation going around this. This is a super powerful technique, and I'm sure you would agree with that. So let's talk about it. And if you want to watch 2 other videos, I got 2 more right here. Check them out. We're all about creating your vibe. We're all about activating your imagination and having better management of elevating your emotions. All right. Thank you so much. I really, really, truly appreciate your time.